reason, no logic.
Battle started.
G'day and get ready for another clash in today's team game. I'm Twig, joined by Tank Tom and Pradith, and we are All Reason No Logic, casting live games most Sundays. Join us. The link is in the description below for our Discord. It's time to get to this nuclear symboled looking map. Take it away, boys.
You're joining us on Trifoil, which is a three-way split of identical starts for all teams, and a huge amount of metal in the middle, 3.1s starting us off, as well as a large ocean around the outside, a couple of mexes on the very back. So you've got to try and decide what's valuable to you. Is it worth going with a land assault to try and take the back, air to try and sweep across the mountains, or some sea to try and dominate from the back quarters? We've seen amphibs, we've seen ships, we've seen air, all of them to great effect on this map. We'll see how our three teams of two go. Tank Tom, will you introduce the teams for us?
So we've got Winera leading the blue team for us. We've got B-Bomb down on the southern side with the red team, and then we've got Ollie over on the left with the green team.
Don't let his OS2 deceive you. He may have lost a lot of games to start with, but since then he's been playing a heck of a lot of non-ranked games, so he will surprise you despite looking as though he could be the back of the pack for this map.
These three players are our some of our core members at All Reason No Logic, and all three of them have gone into Armada.
We've got some navies coming out from the two, I'll say, topside players. So Winera is in the water already, which doesn't surprise me at all. Whenever he gets the chance, he basically jumps in the water.
Whenever he gets the chance, he tries to get a flag, is what he does.
Yeah, even if it's just a puddle or a small lake, he'll be like, I can fit a flag in that.
Hey,
I can reach them from here.
Someone nuked, and now there's a puddle in the middle of the map. I can get a flagship in that, right?
I don't think he's done that yet, but
I'm just waiting to see it.
Ideas.
I'm
We're going to
just
see
waiting
some
to
good
see it.
aggression out of the red team. B-Bomb sending 3 pawns in, but they're not getting microed. Commander's going to get over there just in
They are
time.
now. They are now. They're backing away from the comm, staying out of range, and they're actually going to get right up to Winera's stuff, but Winera, thankfully, it looks like he's going to get in the way. The Rovers and the Blitz going to run a little bit of warding and force these guys into the comm. Might get a tiny bit done, but not very much.
Nothing of significance.
Oh, actually, they're being microed very well, and they've outrun the Rovers. And the one that's left is trying to get on in. He's going to get the Blitz. And it's going to be up to the... Blitz escaping on 66 HP. And the comm stops anything bad from happening. That was nearly a lot of damage from just 3 units. On the other hand, we've got It's Me, Steve, the orange player, getting right into this center circle. Getting that first 3.1 down after an LLT. Shooter's Shot also doing the same thing. Looks like they're going to be battling for all of that juicy metal in the middle. Hard to hold, but so long as you hold it for even a short time, it pays itself off in spades.
Shooter's shoot probably in the better position, having the commander there in the middle rather than just units. Just getting that extra build power. 5 times what that constructor has on the bottom side of the map. Is it 5?
It's got 80 with that commander here as well.
Build power of 300. So not quite 5 times.
Good to see both of them getting out into the middle and making the most of those juicy mexes. Looks like we've got Navy from all 3 teams now.
You really do need it in this match, especially because those lighter ships can traverse through this middle waterway, and Navy does a lot more damage, has a lot more hit points out of, compared to the bots, which everyone else has.
Navy
there is a vehicle lab there for Ant, the purple player.
Navy does take a lot of metal to get going, but pound for pound, those units are going to dish out a lot more damage. Having a quick look back at the bases, green just going with the wind, and if we look at the wind on this map, it's 25 to 5, 3%, 3.8% wind risk, 100% you want to be using wind for this one. It's the tidal speed is not bad at 20, getting a couple of those for consistency, but I'd actually leave a builder on land doing wind instead of consuming all the metal into those tidals. Jumping back across to the blue team, got the Geo coming up, which is, I think they're the only team to be getting that for the time being. Geo is a great consistent source of energy, but with the wind and the water so high, it's debatable whether you should get it or not. I don't think it's a bad thing to. I don't think it's a bad thing not to. But these advanced solars are definitely going to hurt Antics. Way too many, way too much metal, and nowhere near efficient enough considering the other options.
The green team are pulling away with their eco at the moment. It's been relatively even up till now, but they're starting to push that sort of 40, whereas the others are still at about 30 metal a second currently.
Those extra mexes in the base and all of that conversion is going to do them good. Not to mention they're right on the aggression, getting into it, yeah, it me Steve. Though he's got those LLTs to fall back on and actually be trying to build one or two extras. This big clump of pawns and grunts, this could actually take out most of what's over there, in fact all of what's over there, so long as it's microed correctly, and it looks like it's going to be split off and it's going to end up fighting the grunts inside of LLT range. Not the most effective thing to do, but if you can clear all of that out, then it could be worth it.
It's good to see those units split off, because they didn't know exactly what was over there.
Oh,
and if he keeps running, they're going to do exactly what I was
yes!
expecting, which is make it to the base. So rather than going through the front line, they've essentially skirted around. They lost some units on the way there, but
if they get
are
in,
going to get in and do some work.
all they have to do is take out all of this wind, and then they're going to pull their team right back into the lead again. Doesn't look like this wind is quite chain reactable, but if you get a bit of spread around damage and you just keep going, oh, stopped with the micro, so unfortunately gets cleaned up before taking out all the wind. But one of them has been broken away. Gets 2 mexes, is about to get a solar, won't get anything else. But very, very good to see those splitting of units. When you're in this sort of situation, got to use what you've got, and that was quite effective. It's also stopped the aggression, at least until now, from the front line, and it's let Orange shore some of this up. Those LLTs fighting, backed up by the aggravators. Got to send those grunts in to deal with the thugs.
Lavender player now finally going down to the low ground of the middle of the map, and having those vehicles there with some Janus are going to be very productive against the bot players. And our first naval engagement's seeing some frigates coming up against the torpedo launchers.
Looks like the frigates outranging the torpedo launchers should have no trouble taking it out and pushing on in, so long as they're microed correctly. These guys are not on a fight command, but a fight command would have achieved a very similar thing. That is going to be Red's Navy in big trouble, especially, and one of the reasons for that is the Red Navy player decided to go for a T2 lab on land and potentially in range of naval ships, so this could be a disaster for them. Depends on how, well, whether it's seen or how it's played. So B-Bomb going to be in trouble here.
Looks like they don't have vision, and he's just blind firing at where he expects the mexes to be.
And that blind firing is actually hitting the mark for a wind, but now the wind is gone.
He actually thinks that he took out the mechs because the mechs is built off to the side. He saw the explosion of a wind tower. So nice little tactic there that I've never thought of before. Build your wind on the mech spot and then build the mechs to the side if it allows.
Oh, that's pretty good. And yeah, and especially because there's no vision. Sending a constructor around the back to take those mexes, he could have definitely grabbed the 200 metal off of the through reclaim off of those torpedoes. Would have helped, considering
destroyers, they're not frigates.
Stalled.
I thought they were frigates, they're destroyers. I'm not too familiar with the Armada boats.
I did think it was odd that they outranged torpedoes if they weren't destroyers, but that does explain that then. And this navy does actually have some line of sight. Let's check out the player view. Going to get all those wins. So if you're gonna pull off of navy, make sure that you're not building in range of the water. Otherwise, you're just leaving yourself open to damage you don't need to take.
So, Ollie actually Wanira noticed that was a win, putting a ping down there.
Good catch. Good catch. Green taking a very commanding position in the middle. It's not because of his units, it's just because of the timidity of the orange player not using his range advantage to take out those LLTs. But getting up a warden is gonna actually quite well defend this middle section. A little bit of a visual bug on it, you may have seen just there, cleared up now, but it did look invisible for a moment.
Orange do have radar coverage of that middle section, so they can well, they have a good idea of what's out there, not necessarily exactly what the units are, but where the units are.
And this definitely could be a great opportunity for Orange. There is only a couple of pawns and a couple of thugs, so this thug army, backed up by the aggravators, should easily be able to clear off this middle section. Playing very passively, though, does not need to.
I love that when you're sending a construction boat out the back of the red base, getting some radar up there. I'd like to see a couple torpedo launchers prevent jumping in the water.
But the Navy's actually heading on round to the next player. It's going to be 3 destroyers and a... 2 destroyers and a dead skater against 3 eyesores.
I think the eyesores are going to lose this if they don't take these on.
The eyesores, I think they outspeed them. Speed of 81 versus speed of 67. Yeah, so the eyesores can close and destroy destroyers, but the destroyers will do huge damage in the process. Orange has cleaned up the middle and claimed it for himself. I thought Green was in quite the commanding spot, and with all that metal that he has, that he's gotten, could be, but unable, but isn't doing the best at spending it. And the Navy is now...
that the destroyers have gone away from his eco, because there is no production facility in the water for the green team.
Isn't it? Oh wow, no, there isn't. They've invested heavily into it, but they've not managed to do anything. They're quite defenseless at the moment. But the 4 destroyers on the front lines now just trying to do damage. They're blind firing at the top, looking for those targets. Not quite.
They did have 2,000 metal in the bank and going for that T2 lab now. With that, unfortunately, he's built that outside of the range of his 3rd construction turret. That would be getting up about 20% faster if it was in that range, but I think it's going to get up on time, and a good unit to build is those paladins straight out the bat to take on these destroyers.
The T2 naval transition is quite rough, especially considering they've just lost their foothold on the middle, so all that metal that they did have coming in is now gone as a team, but very solid eco in the background. They've got all their mexes, they're T2ing them in the base, and they've got 57 tidal generators, as well as 32 wind, so plenty of power coming in.
Some snipers trying to take out that constructor at the back of the red base. Doesn't manage to get it, but takes out the naval radar.
Snipers for defense, for naval defense, is an interesting one. We'll see how that goes, but just as a...
They do have the range, and the projectiles should be fast enough to actually be useful.
As a thought exercise, it's a pretty good counter, so we'll see exactly how that goes. It might allow them to get back into the water. What they really do need to do, though, is push harder into this middle. There's so much unclaimed area, and so much metal that could be reclaimed. All Steve has to do is grab his comm and use an area reclaim command, and he'd fund his entire expansion into the middle.
These are interesting coming through here.
Which team do you reckon has an advantage right now?
Stealth tanks. I was in a game with you earlier this week, Twig, and one random stealth tank managed to kill my comm inside of your base and destroy all of your APHIS with the comm explosion. It was crazy.
Yep, I was there. I witnessed it.
I definitely did not.
These stealth tanks are so good at being stealth that they didn't even exist.
And there definitely weren't 6 numbers that counted from
wasn't.
6 down to 1 before the comm exploded. That's not a thing that happened.
But one weird thing I saw was these are being used by an AI in a versus AI game with all of us at AllReasonNoLogic recently and taking out my eco. We're about to see some good action out of these. Oh, that's getting close. That one is going to become visible.
Oh, it became visible. But it doesn't look like it was picked up, though a lot of these are becoming visible, but they're just not being picked up. One of the things they do is they don't... There we go, they've been seen. They've been seen.
They're out.
But he's spreading them all out, and he should unstealth them all at the same time. This could be devastating. Welder's trying to get into position. There we go. These are firing. Not picking the best targets, though.
Going for that conversion.
I actually would have gone... I would have gone for the conversion. I would have gone for the builders.
Conversion and build power if you can.
So these are still on hold fire, which means they're only going to shoot exactly what you tell them to shoot. I actually would have just put them onto auto fire once they were revealed. Potentially, though this one might actually manage to find a nice spot to hide. These can actually be seen if you look close enough on the map as a bit of a shimmer, so you can follow them even without an intrusion countermeasure. but it is rough, especially when there's so many going around the base. Great damage done by these.
What's happened?
Very
Orange just took
unexpected.
the army away.
I think it's because they're fighting on the front against some Sheldons. Only 4 Sheldons, though, are covered by a radar jammer, absolutely picking this army apart. You need something fast like these. Oh, I know, exactly,
I like
Fiends.
that.
Fiends are going to
Just
cut.
taking out the sniper with those tanks, but they're going to go down to the other sniper now.
Yep.
Stealth tank still on the base trying to do stuff, but they're going to be eaten by the build towers, so nothing further happening there.
And these Sheldons managing to back off. You really have to, if you want to fight Sheldons or Fiends, you've got to micro them to make those shots miss, and then get them into close range, relying on the extra speed.
This longbow from Rhaenyra is just shelling over the hill.
Oh, that's rough.
Oh, nicely done.
That's rough. What a good call for a ship.
Ollie definitely getting a little bit too greedy, even going for the naval fusion reactor at this stage
if he
of the
pushes
game,
in just
and
a
that's
little
gonna be
bit
the
more,
last.
they'll see the huge navy eco out the back, and there's almost nothing to defend it. These 5 battleships will punch through all those defenses in no time.
His best bet right now is to get that commander in the water and hopefully control D underneath that navy. Otherwise, I think we're going to see.
But there's 5
eco down.
battleships. All of those all the battleships will just torpedo the ever living anything out of the comp.
Ollie not moving his
just-
commander.
Absolute great micro on these eyesores. They've managed to take out more than they really should have, which is a single destroyer. But now there's only one T2 ship in defense. These ships just have to keep pumping in through those paladins, and then they can push on in. Even though the paladin is a strong ship, it can't fight this amount of navy.
And it also doesn't outrange them either.
Yes.
Yeah. Still focusing on the eco with Ollie just needs to turn those construction turrets around and just get a few more of these out.
And all of this eco is going to go down if this is played right. Lightning ships getting in range and destroying and getting right up on those paladins. Great call by
That surround
Rhaenyra.
bonus really coming into play.
Yep, and that is the T2 ships down and free reign on all of this eco. This is going to be a huge blow for the green team. They're being kicked right back into their island when they'd invested so much off of it. I do think that they'll be able to hold if they keep those 2 paladin, if they keep this one paladin back and wait for the second one. Those 2 paladins should be able to push this back, but at what cost? And the paladin's going in early, so it's going to take...
That is the fusion.
Just has to stick around for that fusion, and the fusion's definitely going down. That's the fusion done. The paladin down. The T2 lab is going to go down. Currently sitting in range of a hero harpoon, but now putting the T2 lab between itself and the incoming
just
attack.
getting out in time. Might be able to beat these 3 with the assistance of that
with the
torpedo
harpoon
launcher.
should be able to do it, but even
have
losing
some levels now though.
Even losing this, yeah, it's still not going to be enough. Even losing this entire is it? No, it's not.
It's gonna be close.
It's way
Not
closer
quite.
than it should be. That's crazy.
Bros are good boats.
Yeah. Even
Tell you what,
losing,
guys, I'm gonna go to the pub right now because I'm late for something. But you guys enjoy it. It's a freaking 40-degree day. I don't want to miss out on the pub session.
Oh, hashtag Australia can't even do his job because he wants to go to the pub.
Love you, Olivia.
What an average day here.
Enjoy.
So that was, yeah, absolute great call by Rhaenyra. Losing that entire navy to sack all of that eco, worth it in a heartbeat, especially considering that there's only going to be very limited reclaim coming off of this, particularly with these fast assault subs coming through. Good choice to finish off this area, because these are
I
definitely
do like the
deal
subs
with
coming back, because the way that they could recover from this
is
is
reclaim.
to have the
and
reclaim
res.
ships. So if those are there, then they can't reclaim it.
Yep.
And you can see the damage that it's done to their eco up in the top right.
And
Everyone was relatively even, but nowhere near anymore.
And the pain for the green team just continues. There's now orange Sheldons that are pushing on up towards the island, taking out the defenses. And what is it that green has got at this point? Their eco's been
He
shattered.
does have a couple of ducks that aren't doing anything.
They're sitting at 54 average income compared to the hundreds of both of the other players. I'm
It
just
looks like they might get a little bit of a reprieve, at least on their island, for the next little while.
yeah.
With
The Sheldons are pushing that assault back, and with it being a three-way fight, the blue team did just stop the green team from taking extra damage by trying to push into the middle, but middle control firmly in Orange's grounds. Also, did you say duck?
yes,
Not sure if you watched our tier list. Video came out a couple of days ago, but the duck, terrible unit, and Twig is not here to argue the point, so Tom and I can absolutely talk about how bad it is as much as we
Twig
want.
likes to tell us that they're good, so I just wanted to take the opportunity to point out they were dying to the Sheldons and not achieving anything yet. They might do something later on, but we'll let you know if it gets to that.
Look, because Twig is gone, we can actually admit that ducks aren't the worst units ever, but whenever he's here, they definitely are.
Yeah, we need to bait him into overcommitting, into forcing them to work for a
yeah,
game.
we want to win
Just
against
so that he could
games
say
with
that
him.
he can.
Yeah, we want to beat him, and the best way to do that is mind games, and he will 100% lose to us using ducks because of this. A massive combat going on that we should be talking about.
On the orange side down here.
Oh yeah, the subs have gone away, so green team's getting that 11k medal all for themselves. That's not good. But they are still getting shelled on land by that longbow. And during all of this, orange did have a massive fight with blue, and blue's tanks unable to push into this massive ball of units. It's a pretty good composition with a bunch of Sheldons shelling, sumos on the front, and then the T1 units soaking up damage, and they just have not been able to deal with them. One of the things that you can do in this situation, that you have to do in this situation, you got to try and get damage onto these clumps of units. When they're so grouped up like this, anything AoE can be massive. So your rocket bots, your T2 rocket bots, your Mausers, though the T2 lab is now down, that actually could be blue out. Their only way of building defenses has just been destroyed on land. This is going to have to be a miracle play by Winira's com if he wants to survive this orange attack. But while this is going on,
the green commander is going to go down, and Winira's been shelling over the back hill into the green base as well.
And while this is going on, we can start humming Flight of the Valkyries. They're not helicopters, but it certainly is an air raid.
Yep.
I would say that this is going to be a big problem for green. Winira managing to do spectacularly with his com and clean up a lot of this, but
I don't think that's going to survive the air raid.
Good luck. Missing with the bombers, not knowing exactly where the com was, but he is moving around.
Follow the chain of the build power.
Yeah, that could. I mean, it's off by a fair bit, but doing the smart thing here, and I actually agree with this. If you're having trouble hitting the com, then just great D guns again.
Kill everything else instead.
Even with the blue team essentially like reasonably out of the fight, getting fantastic D guns off and destroying Orange's army, so making sure the players that destroyed them are going to be suffering, at least in the short term, and hopefully they won't end up with the win. Winira.
What was that? Oh, Winira's shelling into the base and hit the fusion.
Ah, nice.
That's what happened down here.
Oh, very nice.
I'm trying to work out why the base exploded.
I mean, look, if it works, it works. And so these guys, everyone seems to be taking just huge damage. This is a back and forth swing. All of the bombers going down to some flak ships. Good call out of Winira. Winira's really all over the map in this one. He's shelling everywhere. He's keeping the players contained. He's defending the base best he can.
Everyone's essentially been reset at this point.
Oh, we've got Antics who's decided to back on out. He's going to abandon Winira and leave him with the land and the sea to deal with on his own. I actually don't love this call because they don't, knowing what they know with all the shelling going into the orange base, there's actually a huge opportunity to get back into here. A couple of
They haven't lost because they know that they crippled green. They know that they've shelled orange. Everyone's essentially restarting again. I do like to see these flagships being parked over near the orange base so that anything that's flying out of there essentially isn't leaving the base.
The only team that's super high on eco at the moment is the orange team. But what can the orange team actually do with it at the moment? They're just using
And
thing
that's
after
largely
thing after
because
thing.
what is it? Battleships. Lanira's playing battleships with the orange base at the moment. Blind ground firing until the things stop exploding, then moving on to the next area.
Have you seen the movie Battleships?
I don't think I have.
Very interesting movie. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily good, but if you like turn off brain action movies, not bad at all. Hey, look, not ducks. We're getting platypus into the water. Do platypus have a torpedo? I don't think they do.
I don't.
Not to mention, they
think-
actually stay on the surface. They don't walk along the bottom. So these guys are going to have a bit of a tough fight going into the Dreadnought. Though there is only the one Dreadnought, and the rest are all anti-airships. So this should be enough to overwhelm that Dreadnought. Dreadnought starting to go down pretty fast. Lightning ship coming in to try and save it, but that is the Dreadnought going down. And Wanira's fleet is getting pushed off. All these flak ships in danger right now. The longbow is Sorry, I keep zooming in and out. The longbow is attempting to take these ships down with the long arc of fire, the long time between the shells landing. Huge amount of damage going down. Great call with the lightning ships to clean these up. Unfortunately, doing a bit of self-damage at the same time and potentially going to lose the longbow. One shot. Oh, that longbow nearly took itself out, but not quite. Sea stabilized, and all the players are right now just trying to find their own feet. But the red player definitely in a huge advantage, 113 metal to the 40 or so from the other players, and they've just kicked on another
Considering
fusion.
all players were up at 80 to 100 at one stage.
Yep. And the thing is, look at the middle. Look at the middle. Look how much metal is available to the middle. There's 3, 6, 9 3.1s available in the middle. Not to mention the 2 that have been taken by the red team. They're not T2 yet, so they could be if people if they struck out to that center, it could be absolutely huge.
Green's managed to res its lab in the ocean, and Orange is pushing across onto the blue island. So I think Wanira is essentially committed to his C at this point.
It's ride or die Navy, baby.
Pretty much.
But the infamous ducks are coming in from the back of the green base. They're heading towards the red player, and that is where they need to go.
If they can get into this orange player,
that'd be juicy. But there is a haven in the back corner that's going to detect them very, very early on. I'm fairly sure it has. Yeah, it's got radar and sonar.
I would love to see Wanira move it out the way to let the ducks come through and hit the base.
Actually, yeah, you're right. That's Wanira's. I didn't even pick that up. That's Wanira's haven. So
Yep.
The only thing stopping these ducks are foreign enemies, and once they get into the base, there's a great lot of bugger all in order to deal with.
Saying this, Wanira is quite busy at the moment over on his island.
Well, even if Wanira detects them, what does it matter?
They're not even going to see it.
Yeah, these and enemies are only going to get a couple of shots off, because they're only going to see them when they get to around about here. It depends on how close they hug the rock. There you go. That's the first an enemy pumping off. These guys, unfortunately, they're not commanded to move onto land. They have to head straight to land if they want to get in on that shore. First duck goes down. Duck's bad unit.
Yeah, this is the...
Only 2 ducks going down, and they're on land. And what is the red team going to do about this? So 3 ducks total go down in the water, and now we have an entire force in the base that is mostly uncontested. Can get the wind, but the big one is, can you get the conversion and the fusions, because that will reset.
It looks like they should be able to make it there.
All they have to do is target fire correctly, take down the build power. Got to take down the build power and not group up quite the way that they are, which is
one block of build power is down.
A little bit of miss micro sending them into the comm, trying to destroy the T2 lab. There you go. That's the T2 lab down. Now they've just big hit with the D gun. Good D guns. That's all the conversion
that's a good chain
down.
reaction off the conversion.
But they're still red team is still left with 17 build turrets and 4 fusions, so that's not going to be enough damage, only enough to set them back. Because if you look at the income, it's still 100. It's still 120 versus 55 and 20 for Wineera. While that was all going on, and we were watching the waddle of the ducks, Wineera's base mostly wiped out by Orange from land. So Wineera is mostly out of this game up until he gets his new
snipers that came around the hill onto his ramp down to where his navy base had been, and wiped that all out.
But if you do look at this, there's a lot of metal in the ocean that's getting reclaimed at the moment by this Voyager, a naval engineer, and it is being converted into naval fusion and naval converters up to the side. So great opportunity for Wineera to come back from here.
The benefit that Wineera has is Orange knows that they've crippled him, but now they don't know where he is, and they'll probably focus on Green for a while. Is often how these go.
Green doing great to clean up a lot of the hounds that were just left out here to die. Unfortunately, not quite capable of...
it was great to see Green coming into the front as they were hitting the back. We can see Ducks are primed to come up through the same spot again.
But there's going to be a couple welders, couple of hounds.
Yeah,
in order
it'd be great to see them try out the other ramp, just to see what's there. And you can see the Ducks walking into the front line are just...
the Ducks walking into the front line aren't going to do anything. The laser on them is quite powerful, but they're not very fast, and they're not very long-ranged. So you just have to... You have to play smart with Ducks, and sending them in one at a time is not playing smart with the Ducks.
And throwing them into welders and hounds isn't necessarily working out particularly well either.
Using the same attack vector a second time, if you'd send one Duck through to scout, no worries. But using the same attack vector to try and get into a base multiple times is usually not gonna work out in your favor.
Normally, once you've hit it, it'll get reinforced, and then it'll be significantly harder to come through the same spot again.
I think there's a great Australian...
to see this Resbot out and about, eating all the metal from the front. That will be a lot of metal out there.
He's going to be a very, very fat Lazarus by the end of this. Yes, I think when it comes to trying to break on through, it does look like Green has learned his lesson and is trying to go around potentially the other side or skip.
Green getting all of their eco from?
Green has just been eating the back end.
Oh, he's eating. Yeah.
Is he converting?
I'm not sure.
He's converting. Yeah, he's got 42 converters. 4 advanced
That'll be
converters.
what it is.
Yep.
And if you look at the ecos, we are relatively back to even again.
No. Did you know what the crazy thing is? Oh, no. So I was going to say, Wineera being on equal terms, I thought that was crazy, but it's actually because of reclaim.
Yes, he's on equal terms for now, but
he does have 2 fusions and 4 advanced converters, so he'll be reasonably similar to the green player. Green player, like, again, these players, they've got to send builders out. Send builders out to try and
Orange
take this middle.
that blue base has gone over on the right. Send something out there. Just give it a mex command and leave it to it.
Even
when you've forgotten about it and look back 5 minutes later, get it to start making some wind or some energy or something to that effect.
Even if you keep losing them, as long as they exist for 25 seconds or so, they're net positive on the metal. And you just got to do it. We've got an anti-nuke coming up. Very good idea. We should have seen these probably about 15 minutes ago. But it should at least stop some surprises, and it does look like the green team is going to go hard into eco. They've got 2 fusions up. They're getting an APHIS. They're getting a second APHIS at the same time. Not ideal. They could definitely use more conversion because they're bouncing off the top end of their energy bar. Or at least they could use... It would be useful if they dragged their bar down a little bit. So that the conversion happened and they weren't bouncing off the top. But they're about to have to deal...
Shooter has most of the eco?
Definitely
Whereas Ollie's only on 2 metal a second.
Ollie did do very well with the Navy, but he's definitely been struggling to recover.
Good to see that defensive tower going down on the front lines.
But so much damage was dealt. The Persecutor only got 7 kills, but every single one of those shots was just wiping out the health of all these Sheldons, let them absolutely go down. Completely, that one building is going to blunt this attack for a long time, especially with the Sheldons backing them up. 36 kills, sorry, 8 kills on those Sheldons.
Persecutor.
So, but the right
artillery.
Orange does have the right idea, getting some fodder to help him get into the fight and only take damage on non-valuable units. Using them to scout around and have a look, they're going to run into the ducks. Let's see how pawns go against ducks. Actually, pretty well. The ducks do good damage. Those lasers are actually reasonably effective at taking out pawns, but one duck does go down for the cost of a couple of pawns. I'd definitely trade pawns to kill ducks. Just checking that there's nothing up here, which there currently isn't. And we have no shelling coming in from Winera yet, but he's just scaling that eco. He's doing what he has to get back into the game.
He's doing the right thing and hiding, not making too much noise.
And just letting the other two teams duke it out.
Probably be somewhat forgotten for a while still.
These 8 Sheldons going to do a lot of damage because they've got themselves a radar bot and a deceiver, and Orange doesn't seem to do much in the way of ground firing. These sumos
coming out of the air lab, so I expect we're going to see a fairly serious bombing run coming through. And with there being no anti-air over on the green side because they never got hit, I expect that should land.
I hope that lands. At the moment, we've got a duck front line for the green player. That is definitely not the unit I would have picked to get in front of those Sheldons, but hey, at least it is
pawns
something.
Are gonna circumvent those ducks and make their way in.
Oh, the only thing they're gonna have to fight is a single pop-up and 2 LLTs. Does look like
the Lich is on its way.
Oh, the Lich does not come in. The Lich was too far in front and took all the fire from the bird shots. And similarly, the pawns tried to push in, but they took a lot of fire from the prosecutors, and the Sheldons turned around and absolutely massacred them. So no luck there, but I did like the 2-pronged attack. Great thing to try and do. Look at this anti-air right on the red team's front line. Got the Dragon Slayer ship anti-airs, making sure that Winera is quite safe, and now the Navy coming on around. These lightning ships...
Those are the same ones that saved Winera's comm a while back. This is good to see, coming in on a different attack vector.
Yep. And this time the nuclear bomber's not going to get its payload off again. These flaks are just so strong. Flaks are just so strong. If you have the option between building basically any other air defense and flaks, the only thing you might have an argument against is the long range missiles, but the flaks really do. They have the AoE and the damage together. So strong.
Winera's blind firing here again. Looks like B-Bomb with his commanders on his way in. I expect we might see an attempted D-gun.
He has passed too close to these.
That will be in range.
He's passed too close to these anemones, and the anemones are making very short work of that longbow. Does look like the longbow's going down. Yep, there we go. That's the longbow going down. You don't want to fight an enemies. They throw so many torpedoes so fast.
Yes, they do a lot of work.
And these ships are a long way away from anti-air. And as we see, torpedo bombers are coming on up. But that's only an exploratory force. The real damage is coming in the form of what's in Winera's build lab right now. Is that a flag?
I mean, Winera's in the water, so it's only a matter of time.
That's a flag. Flagships backed up by some anti-air. That'll be devastating, and he now knows about the torpedo bombers, so he will ramp up that anti-air as well. Because torpedo bombers, they'll definitely go down to the Dragon Slayers, but they will still get torpedoes in the water.
Interesting, the call out of green that you can see in the chat. They're planning on going defensive.
Ships are the key, is what they're saying. And with that, with those APHIS coming up, they're certainly about to boom on the eco. In fact, they're taking an eco lead now. They are the eco winners. So they were left to they defended strongly enough that they've been left to get their own back, and they're really back in this game, which is not something that I expected.
Orange is taking the reclaim off the front again, getting that army of Resbots out, eating
Good.
a lot of metal.
There's so much metal out here, but again, all these players could control so much more metal. Red team or green team at the moment could control an extra 9 to 12 mexes without even straining themselves. And it does look like blue's going for, green is going for that reclaim at the same time. Oh no, it's actually going for the res.
What does happen is you can see he's resing that defensive unit there. The players will be able to see the metal disappearing off the map from these resbots, and you can see that orange now has a builder that's on its way out to build up on what was Vanira's original base.
Good, it's about time. Orange with a very, very strong force. Couple of mammoths, but he's running away, and he has consistently run away from now 7, but before it was 8 Sheldons. Unwilling to commit this entire force into 8 Sheldons.
I can understand if it's waiting just long enough to get his Sheldons lined up, and now he's pushing in.
Nope. This dance has been going on for the past 10 minutes. Orange has had the forces to completely overwhelm green, but
it'll be interesting to see if that gets used somewhere.
I mean, he's using it to get the eco back, which is great. Do this. This is a fantastic play. It's an extra comm. Not to mention, you could walk this into the water and explode yourself right over here on all of Wanira's stuff. This slow push is just not doing it for the orange player. Spending so much time out and about and taking damage, but not actually dishing it back.
Damaging the defenses is one thing, but that's not necessarily going to make a huge difference.
And now there's a big problem that orange is going to have to face, and it's firing missiles on him right now. This attack has come a little bit too late. 5 minutes ago, similar sized force.
It would have walked in.
Yep. And Alexei is going to absolutely gun down this line. What a D-gun.
Fantastic.
What a D-gun. The comm's going down, but that was the entire front line minus 2 mammoths. And all these guys have to do is produce some units. And what they're going for is stealth bots for that. They're going to try and stun it. But the one catapult has just cleared up all of the damage dealers. So the only thing left in this fight is those sumos and the mammoths, and they're not going to do enough.
Sheldons are trickling in, but with those catapults standing there, they're not going to be able to do any work.
But while this is happening,
quack quack,
quack quack. God, I hate ducks.
They will get there before the flagship is up.
Yep, they should completely clear this entire set out, because they do have torpedoes. They do fire from underground, and they're one volleying T2 ships. So they're certainly doing their jobs.
There is quite a few of them there. What's that? 34.
Yeah, it's, for a bad unit, you need a lot of them to make them effective. What's that old outage? Anything in enough numbers is good?
Pretty much. You didn't have enough, throw more at it.
Yeah.
Good to see it targeting the build power.
Going to
straight
stop
out of the gate here.
Only has to take a couple of those out for them to chain react, and there we go. That's all of them gone. And now they'll be able to...
Chat, it seems that he's assuming that it's B-Bomb.
Damn it, B-Bomb.
Oh yeah, B-Bomb is the one down
It
here.
is B-Bomb. No ship for you. Question is, can these ducks break on up into the back lines? And with what's here, I'd actually rate them to be able to punch through 5 LLTs.
It looks like they're just going to go and clear up the mexes for now, though.
I'd have tried to punch in. Got to be aggressive, got to try and win these things. But we're leaving Wanira to do as he pleases. That's what he's got. One flagship, he's going for a second, and he's also getting a seaplane platform. I actually quite like that.
That will be so that he can get the vision to know where he's hitting. That is probably the sole reason that he's got it going up there.
Oh, that's interesting. The Scorpion was trying to shoot the ducks. I've never seen that interaction before. Oh no. Oh no. Look at where the ducks are.
Hmm.
That's
I see
a
that.
that's a very open entryway and an aphis that's 4 seconds away from being completed.
Yep.
Oh, he's
That
not
is
going to
a
go.
nice
He didn't
timing
go
on
up.
that. Oh, no,
He didn't
they're
go
going
up the
around.
ramp.
Or that fusion would have gone pop and wiped out a whole chunk of that area.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's close enough
Oh,
to that fusion to chain react, and I reckon it would have taken out the build power.
I expect that it would have gone boom in about that sort of area.
Duck's trying to come across and deal with Winera, but enough subs here and enough of these are Morays, the tier 2 torpedo launchers. You're gonna have a tough time pushing through Morays, backed up by those Barracudas.
Those ducks never pushed in. Whenever you've got something like that, even if you're likely
Just
to
send
lose
one.
the forces, like send one if
Just
there's
send one
nothing
to
there.
find out, and as soon as you see they're undefended, send everything.
Yeah,
Because
you're better off to wipe a defense that's almost built than give them long enough that you have to fight through
defense.
heavily defended areas.
Yeah.
Not that it always works, but it's nice when you can rock up to find the defenses 90% built, and then all you have to do is deal with the small force and a couple of builders. It looks like though he keeps putting the ducks
I
on
know.
the same move command as the other one, and I'm going yes, and then he moves me out the way. It's like, oh, but come on.
The hero com that took out all of the sumos has just been brought back, so that's another strong defense possible.
I suspected that was going to be rezzed. Being that close to the base, it was unlikely to get eaten elsewhere.
Ducks being used for a land assault, definitely not their main purpose, but against one beamer and one LLT, 2 LLTs, they should be able to punch through and destroy all of B-Bomb's hard work on this island. Though considering how long it's been up, it's paid for itself in spades, so no worries there. And he'll be able to dunk his comm into the water at the
And
back.
that comm running into the water. This should
Which,
give them vision of Winera's base.
it could be very scary if he gets into range of these morays, because look at the range of a moray. It's huge.
Yep, there we go. I was going to say, I'm surprised they can't hit that. But they can. Just.
And Catapult's
They can
getting up.
shoot straight.
Catapult's getting up on that front line now. This is going to be a real hard fight for the red team, though all players playing this quite slowly. Just trying to...
Despite the fact that Winera's got nothing but the water, he's even with green on eco at the moment.
If you leave a player alone for 20 minutes, that's what happens. Oh, good damage on those catapults. 20 down to 26% one of those, and that's all from shells out of the arbiters. But the catapults do fire back, and well, I've heard of fire for effect. That was fire for a lot of effect. And we've got a couple of fiends trying to push on in, but the fiends just granting vision for those catapult shots. The catapult's absolutely devastating Red's army. And it does look like we have some duck-on-duck action. B-Bomb's comm is in the middle of all of this, running away very admirably.
B-Bomb had enough ducks there to survive the assault.
But none of these overly well microed at the moment, so a lot of the units are going to keep running away and getting away. Question is, can they get away at all? Because these ducks... It's same unit versus same unit, so it's all going to come down to the terrain and who decides to pursue and who doesn't.
Torpedo gunships coming out for Winera.
Oh, big duck push coming into Winera's front line.
There is a lot of atomic bombers that are just sitting in B-Bomb's base.
Flagships
and the
firing
shelling has
in
started
as well.
from the flagships.
The flagship's so close to getting all that conversion. But look at all the ducks. What was that at the front?
Yes, we will.
Something killed the... Something killed a comm up the front. Oh dear, that's too many ducks for the flagships to deal with. They do have their own torpedo launchers, I think. Nope, it's the Cortex. Core have torpedo launchers, but these guys are going to start taking serious
You're
damage from the
saying
ducks.
this, but I'm not seeing a lot of damage dealt to the flagships yet.
That's interesting. Are they dodging the torpedoes?
I suspect so. A lot of them do seem to be missing.
Yeah. Oh, just keep moving then. Swim like Dory, but the
Ooh.
base does go down to those couple of
Those
ducks that
ducks in the
split off in.
base.
But again, it looks like it's a bit of a base trade.
It
Ducks.
could be that the torpedo launchers from Winera took out a lot of Winera's base as well.
I mean, yeah. But just getting the ducks in. The flagships have stopped moving, though. And the nuclear bombers are coming in to clean them up. The nukes are also going to... No, they don't actually damage the ducks. That's quite interesting. Huge amount. This is just air-on-air carnage, but one team has fighters and the other team doesn't, so all those torpedo bombers cleaned up. Winera has been reset essentially yet again, just left to be with fusion but no conversion. Definitely
What
needs...
I would like to
Wait,
point out is that
Is
the
that-
ducks weren't the deciding factor in that
no, they weren't.
battle.
Ducks are terrible. Ducks are terrible, confirmed. I think, actually, you know what? That's going to be the title of this one.
Winera hiding in the corner.
He is too. That's great. That's great. The ducks are going to find him, though. He's self-D'ing his comm. But that's great. That's great little things. Now we are down to just 2 teams. I think green is in the position to win this one with that big attack coming on in. Though there is a huge amount of defenses from the red team.
All they have to do is drop payloads.
Exactly. They just have to do a little bit of damage here and there. But that is so many fighters.
And I'm hearing them.
I did hear that. I did hear it. Oh, not quite. Not quite chain reacting the conversion, but taking out some of the build power. If that had gone even just a tiny bit differently, there's one converter on 23%, one on 33%, and a couple just under 50%. But that was the entire air force of the green player eliminated, which means there is an opening to try and take them on in the air.
Oh, that is a decent force from green with all those fiends through the middle there.
They will.
If they come through on this side,
yes,
there's nothing to stop them.
Other than one hero com. Can he be the hero we deserve? They will struggle a little bit against the sumos and the mammoths, but there's so many. That's what I would call an overwhelming number of fiends. There's also the cataphracts, which, whilst not the strongest unit, they do have a decent range on their main battle cannon. And here we go. The first volley of the catapults firing on in and weakening these sumos. And the fiends, they were moving in, but they've stopped just to let the catapults do their jobs and just fire on in. Red really does have to use their air power, but looking at their build queues, it's only fighters. Only T1 fighters.
Seeing...
Get more build power, get that T2 lab going on a whole bunch of blizzards. They're not the strongest thing in the book, but they'll certainly do more than just fighters will against a land army. And here come the fiends. They have targeted
T3 lab looks like it's going to be hurting them.
Oh yeah, you can't at this point when you're at 150 eco with no reclaim. A T3 lab is a very, very long thing to build, especially while you're building all these fighters at the same time. Fiends pushing on in. The fighters come to try and help, but they can't. They're fighters. Hero B-bomb com. Hero B-bomb com. Can he do it? He looks like he's great D-guns, but they do still... I don't know how. Especially with a fusion going down. Ducks coming on in, but they're fighting the sumos. And the cataphracts getting great shots in onto those sumos.
Another bombing run coming in off blue.
And the fighters were out of position. And this one is going to be massively effective. That's the
Oh,
conversion down. And is it... Oh, could it...
If one more can drop something, or just a corpse lands.
Oh, but that is most of the build power down, and so
4%
close.
on that fusion.
But we do have the cataphracts. They are pushing on in. They are really struggling against all of these sumos. Sumo's so tanky, but the range advantage on these cataphracts should let them pick them off over time.
The Crackers are going to get a com.
Quacker's going to get a com. Really, really slowly because they... Is this actually going to happen? It's actually happened.
The ducks don't have any tracking on their torpedoes.
Hey, Twig! Ducks are terrible!
So that was a com walk through 38 ducks
I didn't
and survived.
die. Please let that
Which is
be the
amazing.
game. Please let that be a game-defining play. Please let him just walk on in somewhere, find a way to walk in. I mean, it's not going to happen because of all the Dragon's Claws, but oh my god, that could have been spectacular.
What's got more range, Dragon's Claw or a
D-gun. Definitely the Dragon's Claw. But the red team definitely heard him at this point.
That Navy for
Again.
a third time, I think it is.
The crazy thing is, the red team could have won if they just pushed into... If the red team pushes into this other side, that's all they need to win. That is all it will take to win. But with all of these torpedo bombers, these ducks need to get on over and just do it. They're going to go in on the heavily defended side. Though heavily defended is only Twin Guards and LLTs and what could be a hero com. Oh no, sorry, I forgot. There's all the fire. All of the fire. You don't happen to be German, do you, Tank Tom? Because this is some delicious roasted duck. And another wave of... Oh no, these are the torpedo bombers heading in, I guess. Nope, yep, torpedo bombers are unable to bomb the land, as I suspected. I would have sent those in ahead of the air wave to try and tank those shots.
And now that this is the last commander for Ollie, that's in a rather interesting position.
Oh my god, if this had gone down to those ducks... If this had gone down to those ducks, it would have been a red team victory. Ducks are terrible!
The hasn't been seen. And if those ducks don't come all the way back, then...
That's so bad! Oh my god. There's 4 ducks. These 4 ducks could actually... These 4 ducks, depending on where they go, could actually be the game-defining part.
Green has the significant eco advantage.
Oh yeah.
Depends on how the reclaim's going.
But there's 4 red ducks heading towards Ollie's
Green's going to have the
commander.
significant... But yeah, they're not going to hit it though.
It depends. It depends on what they do next.
They're not scouting into that far corner.
Oh, ducks are so bad.
We've got Rez coming in on the front line here for orange.
Not gonna be enough. There's 18 cataphracts that are poking away at everything here.
They are slow coming up that hill, but at this point you just commit, send them up.
Yep.
They're not dying now, so run them through the base.
Yep.
If you've made it this far, keep going.
Yep. And there we go. That's the keep going command. B-Bomb again getting ready to hero com this. And just for the viewers, there is another com on another island, so it doesn't matter if this one gets lost. And that is some hero D-guns right there. That's 6, 7, 8. 8 cataphracts going down.
But it's enough to stop that push.
And the Razors over here have rezzed enough sumos to stop the push on the other side too. And the airwave is pushing out. This airwave... Actually, I don't think it can spot the invisible
airwave. It hasn't seen it.
It can't spot the invisible comm.
Nope, I'm watching their player view, and they are.
Oh, the torpedo bomber! It turned around at the last moment, but what they really needed was scout planes, and now that was all out of the. That's going to be
That
GG for the red
should
team.
be the defining blow.
Sending all of your fighters out of your base, knowing that you're susceptible to air, is not ideal. Is not ideal.
And that's the right call. If you see the
If you see
fighters
the
pull
air
away,
screen go away,
go for it.
Go, go, go.
And it should essentially be a cleanup for this, and we can confidently say that the Ducks lost the game.
Yeah, Ducks are terrible. Everyone who invested money in Ducks suffered for it this game. And that's not even a joke.
I mean, they did work well. They just didn't quite capitalize.
It looks like B-Bomb is desperately trying to run his comm away, but there's no victory available at this point for the red team.
No, resetting when everyone was at 70 to 80 metal a second
is
doable.
okay. When
your opponent's at 250 metal a second.
Also, when there's an extra opponent to fight.
Yes.
This is now a 1v1, and the only things left, yep, that's the self-D going down on the comm. He was thinking about getting an air lab, but that is GG.
Fantastic fight from all sides.
Yeah,
though.
really back and forth. I'm genuinely surprised Green won this one. They got so harassed at the beginning, but they managed to pull it back. Let's have a quick look at the stats on screen for everyone. Damage efficiency has bugged out in this game because there's no way that these players have a 1.3% and a 2.4% damage efficiency.
No.
But let's jump over to the graphs, which should give us a slightly better look at this. Metal produced. The teams are actually reasonably even up until they get destroyed. Yeah. Energy produced. Red definitely took away with that the whole game. Green did catch up towards the end, but the big one I want to see is damage dealt, and we can see that the blue team was the aggressor all the way up until the 46-minute mark, and even then they were still massively aggressing along with the red and the green team. So phenomenal play out of all of our players this game.
And I think that's where we'll wrap this one up.
It is. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the game, all 61 minutes of it, please please drop a like in the and a comment for us. It really helps us when we strain our voices this hard. And if you want to play with us, jump on down into the Discord. It's in the description below, and join us for some of these weekend games.
Great to see you around.
Thanks everyone for watching. Catch you next time.
See ya.